I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hey AfterBuzzers, welcome back to the Baker the Beauty episode 4. And happy Cinco de Mayo day, by the way.
Yes.
Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Happy Cinco de Mayo. And we have a full panel today with a special guest. Starting off, we have Zach Weinberg with his fashionable hat.
Hey guys.
And Zach, what drink do you have today?
We have like a little blueberry type White Claw drink. We're gonna get into this episode. My jaw was dropped the entire last 20 minutes, maybe even 25. Like I was just like so surprised. I can't wait to talk about it.
Oh, same here. And then Haley Matthews.
Hey guys, this episode took me for a whirlwind. I wasn't expecting to be so surprised during the second half.
Right, I know. My thoughts exactly. And Amir Yaz.
Hi, darlings.
Hey, Amir. And Amir here is also in our live chat. So if you're in the chat room, say hello. And if you're an Apple Podcast listener and want to join in, simply go to AfterBuzz TV, select the Baker and the Beauty, and join on in. And last but not least, we have a special guest, David Del Rio, who plays Mateo.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I can't believe I'm part of the ESPN of TV talk. That is an amazing thing. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm hooked already.
Oh, well, we're so excited to have you, David, and to break down this episode. We can't wait to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of them. I mean, the experience was just as fun, and when they said between action and cut, it was just as intense as it was shown on screen. We were ready. We were so ready to tell this story. When we read the script, we're like, I cannot wait for this dinner.
Okay, yeah, no, I think from just everyone when they were going around saying this was their favorite episode, the last 20 minutes. Our jaws were dropped. But for today's episode, we're going to be breaking it down with the family dinner. Noah and Daniel, with their relationship escalating. Natalie and Amy, they come out to their family that they are seeing each other, and it came out in a very unexpected way. Vanessa also joins the dinner and states her opinion on their little family gathering. Speaking of Vanessa, we have Vanessa and Mateo and their relationship, and I'm all here for it. I can't wait to talk about it, but I am a Vanessa and Mateo fan.
Oh God.
That's very sweet. Thank you.
Of course. And then Lewis and Trevor, we find out more information about Lewis concerning his health was a shocker to me too. Right. And with news and gossip with Zach, more of the actors from the show went live on Instagram this weekend, and they talk about the story plots and how it relates to their personal life. And then, of course, we have David here. We have some questions for him about his character. And if you're in the live chat, let us know what some of your questions are, and we'll ask him. But before we get into today's episode, what was your overall thoughts? I know, Zach, Haley, you mentioned that this was a jaw-dropping moment for you. But Amir, what was your thoughts on this episode?
Lovely. Well, let me just quickly, before I say my overall thoughts, I want to say Billie Jean 24 in the chat is saying Mateo got souped by Vanessa. That is cute and funny. I like that. And then Jackie Vega is saying unexpected is an understatement. And Dr. Daniel Scott is saying Mateo and Vanessa are good for each other. Vanessa provides structure and the serious Mateo needs. Mateo will allow her to have fun. So I like that balance, kind of that yin and yang that I'm here for. My overall thoughts, obviously I'm biased because I love David Del Rio, but Mateo really was my favorite part. He's so fun. He's so supportive of his sister just from episode 1, even though when she was outed, like he's always there. Like he looked at the lesbian chat and just went out of it on the first episode and went right to texting. Like he's always been so supportive. And I love that character, and I'm loving the whole Vanessa and Mateo angle because I predicted it. Episode 1, so I had seen it coming.
we saw it coming. Yeah, I even wrote down these Mateo quotes because I love like in the middle of a serious conversation, Mateo will just blur out the most funniest things. And I had to start writing it down because it just made my life. But no, I was totally here for Mateo and Vanessa for this episode. Haley, Zach, was there anything else that you wanted to add before we start breaking down the episode?
I think it was just when Noah first was outed them for being gay, and then it was just a domino effect of like surprise after surprise after surprise, and it was just so intense and funny, and I really loved so many parts of the episode, specifically when Natalie stood up to her parents and was like, "This is who I am." That was my favorite part, but I mean, there was so many good parts of this episode.
Yes, yeah. What about you, Haley?
I don't want the blame to be all on Noah, because they were holding hands at the dinner table. So that's a whole different story.
No, you make a great point. Well, let's get into the family dinner because I know we're all anxious to talk about it. Let's start with Daniel and Noah. So their relationship has been escalating, and Daniel has been getting up early every morning to make breakfast, or as Mateo puts it, sex fest. And ever since the paparazzi posted those pictures of Noah and Daniel kissing in the hotel room in Puerto Rico, I feel like they just took their whole relationship to a new level. But I do like that Noah was excited to come over to meet the family. Like, she wasn't holding back or anything. What was your guys' thoughts on it?
I was surprised.
This is how we know Noah really likes Daniel. She wants to meet his family. And I don't even, do you guys think she won them over?
You mean the family?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think the family, it was mutual.
You think the dad likes her now?
Oh, won her over. I'm sorry. I thought you said wanted them over. Won them over.
Oh, won them over. I don't think the dad is feeling it. I think the dad is a really good barometer of kind of a real person. Like, he's not kind of like, he's not, what is the word? Like, he's not glamorized by this celebrity lifestyle. And, you know, there's a comment in the chat as well saying they really showed what extremes paparazzi go to. So I think the dad knows, like, this could really affect Daniel's life. So he's really kind of taking a stand against her, which I kind of respect.
Can I just say something?
Yes, of course.
I love being on this show. Can I just say, because I mean, it really is the ESPN. You guys are really breaking it down. And I'm just, and you guys saying, you know, you're here for it. I'm here for it. I'm just here for all this commotion and this debate, because, you know, the thing is, that's why we do this, you know, as actors, creators, directors and writers in the industry. That's why we do it, because your interpretation is different from my interpretation, is different from the next person's and the next person's. You know, the idea of family dynamics are universal. Absolutely universal. And the reason why I'm so grateful to be part of a family show like this is because everybody can relate, but in just such different levels. And you know, I love how you guys are breaking it down. I just wanted to say that.
Oh, thank you. We love your opinion. We appreciate it. And no, that's one thing that we love about this show, is especially now during this time, it's great to have content like this, something that is just light and we could just laugh about. But with the family dinner, Zach.
Chels, before we move on, we have someone in the chat that's asking a great question for David. Jackie Vega is saying, what drew you to the show? Like, when you read the script, like what drew you in?
Man, I would love to answer as if I was like the type of actor that they just sent me the script and asked me directly to be in the show. You know, it's like, you know, like, oh yeah, what drew me? But when I actually got the script, I actually auditioned for Daniel, and I auditioned for the casting director, Sarah Isaacson, who is just the brains behind putting this family together and casting the family. And she just looked at me and she goes, yeah, that was a great read, but I think you're better for the brother. And so I came back and I read, and this was sort of similar to another character that I played. I was in The Heights on Broadway for 6 months back in 2010. And I played a character named Sonny, and it was very similar. And so I kind of felt like, I was talking to my wife and I was saying, this is Sonny. I mean, this is like in me, you know, it's part of me. And she's like, yeah, just go do that. And once I did that, I didn't hear back for months until I heard they're moving on from you. They're gonna find somebody else. And I was like, oh, that's okay. Like, that's, like that as an actor, your rejection is just part of the gig, right? So I was like, all right, cool. And I'm still auditioning for pilots and stuff like that. And then they said, they called me like 2 months later and they said, we haven't found anyone. You need to come back. And they want to see you again and all that stuff. I mean, there is no right way to get a part out there, people. Like that's the absolute truth. Once I got the part, the thing that really drew me to Mateo was it was nice to play a character who had ambition and had a certain ambition that he wanted to follow unapologetically as his DJ career is starting. And I do love, you mentioned it earlier, and it's really ingrained in me in my personal life was, if his family's threatened, he sees red. He is just so loyal to his family unapologetically. And I think it was in episode 2 or episode 3 that he says he knows that he messes around and acts a fool 99% of the time, but he's actually listening. And he does that because that's how he gets through life. And making his mom and dad and brother and sister laugh is something that just kind of fuels him. And it's just another way of kind of him opening up to his truth, So I think that's what really, really drew me to the character. The fact that he's so loyal to the family and, he doesn't use comedy to be funny. He just uses comedy because that's his personality. And that's how he kind of hides things. And more that kind of, you'll see it starts to break as the season goes.
Oh, I could see that. And especially with the comedy, with the family dinner, I loved how your character was saying, she can make my career. Your girl is a tastemaker and I'm the flavor.
I gotta tell you, when I got that line, I was like, how the hell am I gonna sell this line? And I'm glad they chose that take. And Erica Dunton, who directed that episode, is just a master director, and she really she really guides the actors to be to kind of show their essence, and then she kind of arranges the levels of how you say the lines, and I really appreciate her for that.
Okay, well, yeah, you definitely sold us on that line. And I feel like with your character, you kind of get your mom too to be funny as well, because she's all excited for this dinner. She's saying Noah Hamilton Garcia is going to be at our house. And then the dad is saying, okay, she's coming here. I'm going to cook what I'm going to cook. So going back to you, David, yeah, you definitely see the different types of characters and how they react to certain situations. But with the whole family dinner, you guys, I think going back to you, Zach, I think Noah was starting to win them over after she got done talking to the dad and they went to the bakery and she was saying, I really do care for your son. And I thought that was a great moment because normally it's when you invite someone over for the dinner, it's the guy and then it's the dad that kind of have a hard time making it work. But it's kind of cool where they show Noah and the dad and he's being hard on her. He's not lining up just because she's a celebrity. So that was great that they brought that in there. And I appreciated it.
Say I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, definitely.
You did call it. You called it, episode 1. And I think Noah, she did make a good impression because Noah really is really sweet and genuine. It wasn't until she called out, or better lack of words, whatever, she just asked if Natalie and Amy were dating. She had no idea. I almost feel like Daniel could have warned her that the parents didn't know, because Daniel obviously knew. And then that whole scene was just so awesome to watch. I really loved how Natalie stood up for herself.
Oh yeah. And then I think the part where the family was kind of, not that they were upset with Noah, but it definitely made things very awkward was when she did call Natalie and Amy out. And her, she's thinking, oh, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, she didn't know that they weren't out.
She didn't know.
Right. And this happened actually, Charles, this actually happened with my family. I had a friend come over, which we were dating, and my other friend didn't know that my parents didn't know and was like, oh my God, you guys are so cute together. My parents were like, cute together. Like, what does that mean?
Wow.
Oh my God.
So I really related to that scene. I was like, oh shoot. I mean, I didn't have the balls like Natalie to stand up and say, this is who I am. I was just like, we're cute friends. Like I had to play it off. So I really loved this scene because, you know, like with a Latin family, there's a lot of machismo, like much like a Middle Eastern family. So I loved that they brought that to light. And the way that we had talked about this on episode 2 about Natalie not being like you know, like a story of like someone being put down because they're gay. Like she stood up and was so powerful. So that's why I love this show and the writers, because they didn't do this like tragic story of her being bullied or like, you know, none of those stories. So I was really here for that. Yeah.
And it's not only a clash of social class. It's what the whole concept is, you know, and what we were inspired by is, okay, what if my brother started dating Kim Kardashian, David's brother, right? And that's how we kind of like that's where we went from. And so at the dinner table, what we really got to realize is it's part of Noah's world to just be comfortable in talking about that enough to kind of miss the mark and misreading the room, because she never has to read a room in her life.
Good point.
The room is presented to her. And I thought that was a really interesting character study of, you know, of another example of the sort of high life meeting the, you know, the Cuban life, right? The family life, the bakery life. And I think that was a really another great example of a clash of two different lives, you know, the thing that Noah thinks that she can just out and say, you know, and you know, and Cubans are strict. Cubans are really, really strict, and you'll get to see more of that as the season goes on.
Yeah, and even Natalie said we're Catholic too, so that kind of even puts more pressure on her as well. But that was a good point, David, because you're right. With Noah, she works a room, but everyone already loves her. Going to this family dinner, they're going to be hard on her. I mean, I know the mom was a huge fan of her. The sister was. Amy
Not
was.
Anymore.
But well, I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that either.
But I think she definitely didn't go in there saying, okay, everyone's going to love me. I don't have to work the room. I have to work the room in a different way to make them be on my side. So I like that. Yeah. But I also love how Amy comforts Natalie after she runs from the dinner table.
So sweet. And
Amy was saying, whatever you want, I want. And I thought that was really cool for their relationship.
Cute. Oh my gosh. I wish my first boyfriend was like her.
That was awesome. That was really awesome that Amy was so supportive. If I was dating a guy and he was in the closet, I honestly wouldn't date him because I would want him to be out of the closet. So I really, I think it's different now that I'm older than them in high school, but I really think it was so cool how Amy was so supportive and she wanted to tell Natalie, like, take your time. And then the most iconic line and moment of the episode, I'm leaving, I'm trapped, I'm gay.
Yes.
Funny.
I thought that was so great. And a commercial break. That was a good commercial break. But
well, and it was such good writing too, because it connected that whole I'm trapped, I'm gay, whatever, to like Noah feeling trapped with the paparazzi and then the whole tunnel thing. Like it's all such good metaphors mixed in with actual stuff that's happening. So it's really good writing.
That was the first time I saw the tunnel. You know, episode 4 is the first episode that no one in the cast has seen. So we've seen episode 1 through 3. So we were, as you can imagine, very excited to see this episode. And so I completely forgot about that. You know, the hidden room in the walkway. And I thought, oh my gosh, we turned into a sci-fi show in less than 2 minutes. It's going to turn into Lost really quick.
Can you imagine?
It turned it on, and I wasn't there on set. I didn't know what it looked like and all that stuff. And I was looking, I was like, wow, we're really the production quality is really going up. You know, so that was really cool to see.
So now that there's this tunnel, is Mateo going to be sneaking through?
You know, it's funny that when Carlos said that line, I thought that was really funny. I was like, yeah, we definitely would.
Oh yeah, I like that too. And Dad's like, I'm not telling you guys where this was when you were younger. Am I crazy?
Right.
But And I do love how we brought up Natalie stood up for herself saying, I'm not a dress. You just can't choose what I'm going to do with my life. This is who I am.
Totally.
And that was great. And I liked at the end, the dad came around and saying, there is nothing that you can do or be that will make us love you any less. And just give it time. Your mom is going to come around. What a great daughter-father relationship,
I have
honestly.
to say something. When Carlos or Rafael, the dad, he was like, your mother has had your life plan for 15 years. Give her time to adjust. This really made me like understand the parents' perspective, because it's not like they don't accept her for being gay. It's just that you have this image of your youngest daughter like having a quinceañera and falling in love and getting married to a guy for 15 years. It just takes time to digest. And it almost made me understand why some parents need time to that their child's gay. It's not that they're it's not that they're judging them or loving them less. It's just that they need time to digest it. And I just really enjoyed that scene. That was so cool.
You know what I really appreciate about what the writers have done is, and it's crazy. For every script that we received was, our reaction was, we're doing this already. We're going there. You would think that this would be kind of like, didn't the dinner scene seem like a season finale? Like that's what I've always thought. And so when I read the script, I was like, wait, don't we just kind of want to wait and kind of like extend this part of the story? And that's what I just like about Baker and the Beauty as a whole. I mean, we're going straight to the relationship tropes. Because we're a bingeable show. We're just not binging now. That's not how we're distributed, right? So we're distributed week by week. We are a type of animal that is still kind of in unknown land, and so being part of a show that's being released week by week. I really applaud Dean, the creator, and the rest of the writers for kind of putting a lot of stuff packed in these episodes, especially an hour-long show. So, and wait till you see the rest of the season. I mean, like things move fast because there's just so much more story to tell if we get picked up for a season 2. So.
I'm hoping you guys do, because you have a lot more we can build off this episode. So we're excited to see how the rest of the season unfolds. Yeah. And I was saying at that dinner, I was so excited to see Vanessa show up too. She
let her
stood her ground. Knowing her, she probably has a key.
Literally. Right. That was my first reaction. I was like, who let this girl in my house? She's showing up.
Right. Well, she was saying, Mateo saying he's sick. I don't believe that. I'm gonna go over there, make some soup.
But she brought him soup, though. That was so sweet.
Yeah, she did. It came from a good place. That's why we liked Vanessa. Her ground. She was saying, "What's this? It took me 6 months before I can even get invited to a family dinner."
Oh, that broke my heart. That broke my heart.
But you know what? Daniel finally talked to her. He finally gave her closure. It's not all Vanessa's fault. Like, why did it take this long for Vanessa to get closure? It took her to have to show up to this family dinner to get closure that she should have got like 3 weeks ago.
Yes. Right. Oh, and let me just say, when she was talking to Daniel saying, I gave you space because that's what we're supposed to do. I want to give you time to think about this. And then for Daniel to say, well, I didn't ask you to give me space. I just feel like some guys would be like, you're too clingy. Give me time to think about this. You just dropped a huge question on me. So for Vanessa to say, look, I still care for you. I'm giving you time, but I'm still invested. I thought that was really great on her part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wasn't even thinking about her. Like he didn't thought about her once.
Yeah, but until she said, I'm telling the press that Noah's here, but then she didn't end up doing it because Mateo obviously convinced her out of it. But I was like, you know what? You should tell the press that Noah is here. Because come on.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's what makes a character like Vanessa so special and balanced, and the way that Michelle plays it is absolutely beautiful. I mean, from the pilot, when we saw, her scene and her sort of growth as that particular character. I mean, that character is a very dangerous character to play. You could play it so black and white. You could assume that your role in the Baker and the Beauty universe is to be the crazy ex. And Michelle just took it to a whole other level, to a point that we can have a debate like this. And that's big props to her, and big props to the how she plays that character just so beautifully.
Yeah, when we had her on last week, she even said, when I was reading the script and I went out there and I delivered my lines, I didn't know if I was going out there too much, if I should have held back, but I think she delivered it beautifully. And like you said, we can have this debate where, okay, we're on the side where we think she's crazy, or no, good for her. She's standing her ground. We're proud of her. But one thing that did break my heart was when Daniel was honest with her, but said he loves her, but not the way that he used to, and that they'll never get there happily ever after.
That hurt.
Ooh. But I'm glad that he was honest with her. But of course, she slaps him. She's like, no, I'm out of here. I'm done with this. Well, I do like, though, when she went and confronted Noah, their first conversation together.
Yes, it was much more interesting than Colin and Daniel's confrontation.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. She did say, I don't get why you feel like you're trapped, Noah. If I had Daniel on my arm, I'll be out there showing the paparazzi what I have.
Yeah, I sided with her on that. And it made me not like Daniel in that moment. Because she made some real valid points. And this is my thing with Vanessa. Her and Mateo are my two favorite. And it's weird because they're such extremes. But like, she deserves so much better than him. It's crazy.
Well, she might have someone there that could be a good fit for her. That will get us into our next topic. But before we do, we just want to send a message to our viewers.
Yes, I just wanted to thank you all for being here with AfterBuzz, the ESPN of TV talk. And please go like, subscribe, comment, and go to Apple Podcasts and give us 5 stars so we can get more guests like the lovely David Del Rio, who plays Mateo on the show, as you know. And we can really try to bring you all this fun, cutting edge content during quarantine. Keep all y'all busy. And I just quickly wanted to, Charles, read a couple of comments. We have a lot of great people in the chat. David, someone's giving you a lot of love for Sunny. We have Jackie Vega saying that you were amazing in The Heights, and Sunny is everything. Sunny's part in, she's saying Sunny's part in 96,000 is amazing. Yeah. Is that a song from In the Heights?
Yes. I remember it. It was one of those those showstopper numbers as they call it.
Awesome. So everyone's giving you a lot of love in the chat. Thank you all for commenting. Keep it up. Thanks, y'all.
Yeah. Awesome.
Thank you. Well, another thing that I want to keep up is seeing where this relationship goes between Vanessa and Mateo. So she is now officially his new manager, and Mateo calls out sick because Noah's coming over. But I like how Vanessa comes over with soup and she dumps it all over him when she finds out the real reason why he called out sick. Yeah, we've touched on it. I really like that moment between Vanessa and Mateo where she's about to go out to the paparazzi. And he's just saying, he chokes up and he's like saying, someone's waiting for you to see what an incredible, strong woman you are.
I thought they were going to kiss. I really thought they were going to kiss right there.
They wanted
to. Tell us, Mateo, what is going on? What can you tell us? Because we've all been speculating this since the first episode, basically.
Well, listen, what happens in the scene is that he's really, really just trying to protect his family. And like that's what I said in the beginning, where that really drew me in, I mean, this, despite what other people may think, if you're in that situation, you kind of want Mateo's the kind of character who wants the best for everybody. He puts people first. And I think what Mateo got caught into in that scene is that he just started to word vomit a little bit. And it started from a tactic to, you always got to remember that they had a relationship, Mateo and Vanessa, for 4 years. Yeah. Right. And so he was speaking from a point of really knowing who Vanessa is. There is no other, I don't believe that there is any other thing that he was just trying to say other than you're still Vanessa. You're still the Vanessa I know. And the word vomit kind of just turned into maybe a confession, maybe just letting a friend know. But we'll just continue to see.
And that was enough because Vanessa, when she walks out, she doesn't say anything to the paparazzi. She just gets in her car and leaves. So that connection, that friendship that Mateo and Vanessa have, it is strong because he was able to convince her in that moment to say, you're better than this. You don't need to go down this road.
And I think Mateo, like everybody, I think when she started saying that it took me this long to be in this dinner, in this dinner party, that really struck a chord. I even remember shooting that scene. And when she said that, that was a thing for me to kind of use for myself as a through line to that scene of trying to stop her from talking to the press, really feeling bad for her. And that was basically the intent in the story we're telling.
Yeah, I love it. And then quickly, topic 3, Lewis and Trevor. We get to know a little bit more about Lewis's character. And
more gays, yes.
I do like Trevor and Lewis together. I like how Lewis says, look, this is how it usually goes with a relationship with someone. I'm not here for it. And then Trevor comes back and says, just give it a chance. And I like them together. And I think Trevor would be understanding, of Lewis leaving to go save Noah from the paparazzi. But the real reason wasn't because of his job. It's because he's sick.
Right.
Yeah, this episode made Lewis more of a human being to me in a way. I haven't always been a big fan of him, but seeing him not with Noah, really, I never thought about his life outside of her. So I really liked him in this episode.
Yeah, absolutely. We finally got to see like his softer side, and I was so excited for him when he went on that date and they were hitting it off. I'm really sad how the episode ended, but I still think they're gonna fall in love or like get together by the end of the season.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah, I hope so too. And I'm really more invested now in Lewis's character. And what you said, Haley, I think whenever I see Lewis, I think of Noah, but now Lewis has his own story plot. And I did see more of a human connection with Lewis before in this episode. So I do like it a lot. But that was episode 4, you guys. It was a great one. Yeah. And quickly, before we start talking to David, we have some news and gossip with Zach.
Yes.
Sorry, Zach. Before you start jumping on that, just quickly wanted to give some love to the chat. Sorry, I know.
No, go for it.
So Jackie Vega is saying, "What is wrong with Lewis?" in all caps. She wants to know. Yeah, she's desperate. So we'll find that out soon. And then TV show Addict is saying, "I had a similar experience to Daniel dating a celebrity. Not going to mention names." So I'm trying to get her to say some names.
Oh, we want some names.
Okay, Amir, keep trying to get some tea as I share. So Natalie and Amy, they went live on Instagram, and it turns out Natalie's character, Natalie in real life, Belisa, am I saying that right?
Belisa, yeah.
She's actually gay in real life, and she was kind of talking about how she wishes when she was growing up that this story was played out on TV. And I completely agree. Like, it's about time. And that's why I love this show, how we saw a modern day family. So I really like that. But the biggest news for me was that this series only 9 episodes. So I thought that was a little short.
Well, we got mid-season pickup, and that's basically, and what's crazy too, when we started this show, they started giving us example of other shows that started with 9 episodes in the first season. Grey's Anatomy was a 9. Yes. Scandal, The Office. So I think this is like I think it's just what kind of show we're we fall into. We got sort of picked up for mid-season, therefore it's all a scheduling game. And basically, if we get picked up for a second season, hopefully it'd be double that.
Well, we're hoping. Cool. Fingers are crossed.
Yeah. After this episode, we're going to season 5. Like this episode.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, but what did you think of that date, Amir, between Lewis and Trevor?
I thought it was super cute. I mean, David knows I worked as a publicist, so that's where we met. And working with publicists, talent managers, and agents, they are very much like that. And they always, once you get to know them, they always open up and generally have a heart of gold. And I knew that Lewis had it in him. And I think that it's probably cancer or something like that. And I'm sad that he pushed, Trevor away, but I think Trevor is going to work his way back in.
Yeah, for sure.
So I liked it. It was cute.
I don't want to throw out like diagnoses or illnesses, but I thought he maybe had HIV or AIDS, but that was just my guess.
We still don't know yet. Wow. It's just a health concern, so it could go either way. But well, let's get talking to David here, because we all have some questions for you. And first of all, we just want to say, how are you doing during quarantine? This has been a crazy couple of months. And what have you been doing?
Well, it has been a crazy time, and there have it's a new normal for a lot of people, and it's a time of reflection for a lot of people as well. Who knew that I'd be sick of Netflix at this point? Who knew that I'd be sick of social media at this point too? It proves that it could happen. But what I've been sort of concentrating on is trying to get a routine in my life, and trying to make that routine a habit. So for example, I'm trying to wake up at 5:30 every morning and kind of get some stuff done, and let the sun rise, and kind of just, it's really cool watching a movie at 5:30 before the world's awake, or it's really cool writing and reading before the world's awake. And a lot of people say that they work out in the morning and that gets them through the day. That's like a good jump start. If I successfully wake up at 5:30, that's a good jump start for me. That's like, oh, I have the rest of the day to kind of chill, and you feel less guilty about catching a Real Housewives of New York episode at noon. So because you've done so much. So routine's the name of the game for me right now. I've been reading a lot more, been studying a lot more, writing a pilot, creating a production company. So just a lot of stuff has kept me busy. It's kind of kept me busy, gratefully. And again, like I said, to have a show completed, out there having legs, doing its work, I'm the luckiest guy ever. I really am. And I really am grateful for the nurses and doctors and the people who are in the essential places still working. I mean, I don't think there's ever not going to be a time now where I don't say thank you to a grocery people who work in groceries, and it has a real meaning. I think where we are right now is, I think the trend is when one state starts doing something, because nobody has the answers, which sucks. Like the real answers, right? So once one state starts, the rest want to join, right? And so these restrictions that are being lifted, yes, that's good, and yes, I'm hoping it comes and does something positive for all of us. I just hope people stay smart and considerate, because there are heroes out there who have been considerate to us.
Absolutely.
And I like how you said, now going to the grocery store, I'm so thankful for them, because me too, because they're putting their lives out there while we get to still be in isolation. So I give them kudos to the nurses and doctors. But I wanted to ask about your character. So I know you kind of been giving us a perspective, saying when he was talking to Vanessa, that was more coming from, I known her for 4 years. Right. But I feel like we are still sensing a connection between Mateo and Vanessa. If you were in Mateo's shoes, would you consider dating Vanessa, or don't really want to get involved because she was with your brother?
Tell us.
Chelsea.
Tell us.
No, listen, I'm going to give you an annoying answer. I am Mateo. So I agree. I agree with, the steps that Mateo is taking to keep the family tight, and Vanessa's family. She is. She really is. So he's just trying to keep everybody peaceful.
Princessa. You call her Princessa. That says a lot about how you feel about her.
Vanessa.
It says a lot.
That's funny.
We have a question from the chat, real quick. What scene was your favorite to film from the first 4 episodes, and why? That's Jackie Vega.
Good question.
So the dinner scene, it's just so fresh, but the dinner scene was incredible. And because there's a lot of, so, they have the montage, right? So like the montage parts where we're all like, setting up the table and like showing each other the wine we're going to drink and all that stuff. They kept those cameras rolling for like 10 minutes. And we were just living as the family. And there were like moments where Belisa and I would get in sibling arguments, like in the middle that didn't make the cut, but like it was just we were having such a blast, to the point that as an actor, as an employee who does the job of acting, it really was one of the best days I've ever had on set, because we really exercised our muscle and got to know our characters even more off script and how we reacted to each other. And you got to know, like I would constantly ask, who's your favorite kid, Mom? And then that's how Belisa and I would start arguing. And then, Lisa would be like, stop, you guys always fight about this. I love you all the same, and so we really got to know each other even more as a family, improvising that way. And like I said, and we were very close to the crew as well. And I've been saying this of kind of like what my process is. There is no difference between stage, film, and television for me, because I'm performing for the crew. I like making the crew laugh, and if the crew likes it, that kind of gives me a really good tell that maybe the audience will like it as well. And so our goal was just really to make that crew crack up, and there were many times where I'm sure they couldn't use a lot of the film because the camera was shaking, because these guys were falling off their chairs, and that was really my favorite part.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
That was definitely like the best scene. But I'm really wondering, something I've been really wondering, is Raphael's Bakery real?
Is what? Sorry?
Is Raphael's Bakery a real bakery in Miami?
No, but it's there's a lot of bakeries like it. And by the way, I'm Cuban and I'm from Miami, so this is very close. This show is very close to my heart, and yeah, there's a lot of bakeries like that. However, I didn't know there was always like apartments on top of bakeries, and I found that very fascinating. I thought that was very, very cool. But yeah, you go to Miami, you'll find stuff like that,
Okay, and who should take over the bakery? Which one of the siblings?
No,
Daniel?
I think Daniel, I think that it's been something that's been ingrained in him. I am the type of character that doesn't want to get his hands dirty. And more importantly, he doesn't want to get his shoes dirty. And so I don't think a person like that can run a successful business.
Okay. I thought you were there the most. You were there at the bakery the most. So I think maybe you could take over the bakery, Mateo.
I think my dad does it to Mateo to punish him more so than not. But yeah, I mean, again, it's a family dynamic to be part of the business. I like when they write scenes that Mateo is helping out. It makes me feel like the family dynamic is a lot more close knit than can be interpreted.
Nice.
I have a question for you. So I was as a kid, I loved the troupe. How have you as an actor changed from playing Felix to now?
The thing is that I'm my career is not like a lot of people's. I am the luckiest kid in the world. So the troupe was only my second audition, and I didn't do a pilot. I replaced the kid in the pilot. So one of my first jobs was straight to 28 episodes for a first season. And it's like that does not happen. That does not happen. And I'm not going to pretend that happens. I'm not going to pretend that like there's a reason for that. It's crazy, right? So I really learned how to be a working actor as opposed to like talent. Talent was the last thing on my mind. It was about getting there on time. It was about being prepared enough to kind of improvise if I wanted to be, and how to be a good coworker. When you're on set, there's no time for your ego because there's 30, 40, 50 people who want to get home to their kids. And if you're not prepared and you're messing up on your lines over and over and over because you know, for whatever reason, you know, you kind of think about budgetary issues, of, you know, the cost of doing a take again. You know what I mean? You know, so the sort of rule of thumb is between action and cut, $17,000 has been spent through people's time, through people's equipment, through insurance, through all that stuff. And so what you know, I used the 28 episodes of The Truth to kind of teach me how to just become a team player for every set that I'm in from here on out. Now, Nickelodeon acting is different from ABC acting, because Nickelodeon acting, I had to be just a little bit bigger. And you know, the older I'm getting, you know, less is more. And that's what I'm continuing to learn as an actor.
Oh, wow. Absolutely. Really good insight. Thank you.
Great.
Amir, do we have any more questions from the chat room?
Yes. Let me ask one on my own, and then I will get to one from the chat. David, so when we met, first of all, I want to say this because I know it's a little overtly cloying, but when we worked together, I always remember you would come in the office and you'd make us all laugh. Like, you had such good energy. So I've always wanted everything for you, because I working with talent, you are really, bar none, the nicest guy in Hollywood. So I've worked with everyone.
Thank you so much, man.
I really just wanted to say that right off the bat. And then another thing that I'm really proud of, I speak about this a lot, is having a show where it's Latin people written on and off camera. And this show does that. So you have a Latinx family and it's covering all those bases. How did it feel to be on set? Like how often were you guys breaking character? I mean, it just seems like such a fun set. It almost makes me want to be an actor, even though I'm horrible, just to see all the hijinks. So how was that on set?
Well, first of all, Amir, let me just say that the feeling is mutual. I mean, when we came across each other in the office, it was always a great laugh. And it's really, really great to see where you are right now. It really makes me feel very, very happy for you. So congratulations on all that. You know, the thing is, I'll say two things. One is it's chemistry is not easy. And playing a family is not easy either, to really make it believable. But the truth of the matter is that what got us really, really close together was your point. The fact that this Cuban family and this Cuban culture and the Hispanic culture is really getting the limelight in a family show. But the thing that I'll say about that is we also understood that the more we kind of stress that, the more it kind of becomes a little bit of a niche, or it becomes a little bit of a thing, where what we really wanted to do is it could have been any family, but we wanted to tell a story about a family, period. Because, and that's the thing I was saying earlier about the universal tone and the universal meaning and messages that this show prevails, is that everyone can relate. And culture has nothing to do with it. It just happens to be a great mixture of celebrating our culture, sharing our culture to everybody, because that's just the way it is of how we live. And that's what we wanted to kind of stress. This is just how we live, as opposed to let us educate you through salsa dances and pastelitos to tell you all about our culture. We didn't really want to be on the nose, you know what I mean? Right. Because if we were on the nose, then we'd be doing a disservice. So I think that what we just wanted to do is really portray the family that we grew up in, and kind of put it into the scenes. And that's, I think, how we continue to get our chemistry together. And let me tell you, our first cam operator would put on music between every setup. And if if you've ever been around Latinos and Latinas, man, I'm telling you, you put music on, we can't stop. So that's what's been the vibe on set. And you've been seeing it on social media, every dance, all these dancing clips.
I've seen you twerking. I've seen you twerking around.
Exactly. That was, that's not that, of course that's for all fun and play, but that's only a moment that they catch. It wasn't, hey, I'm about to record you, just do something funny. No, but they just caught us just being in our element, and I'm so glad that people are getting to see that on screen too.
Right. Sure. And so I appreciate that, David. That's an awesome insight. There's a question from the chat. There was a couple actually really applauding when you did live Grease in 2016. the question is, what was it like doing a live Grease like moment? Was that nerve-wracking, or because you were on Broadway and you have that experience, but what was the vibe?
Well, it's crazy. You can say it's because we've been on stage, or you can say it's because we've been on TV, but no one in that cast has ever done both, live and on TV. And that was a completely different monster. We weren't stressed. What it was it was real tight ship. Mark Platt and Adam Siegel produced it. Tommy Kail, who did In the Heights and Hamilton, directed it. And they really set up a great thing of, by the time the first week of rehearsals ended, whether we blocked the scenes or did the music, we were rehearsing the whole show from beginning to end, to the point of the places that we weren't rehearsing, the scenes we didn't rehearse and that we didn't even step into, we were just improvising. We were just making up blocking, making up doing songs, because they wanted to set up, by the time that we were doing the live show, it was as normal as another run through. And it didn't make a difference that we were live. It didn't make a difference that it was telecast. What it was is that they really prepped us really well, that it was just like, all right, here's another run through. Just do the run through. And the fact that they had real audience there for the first time, that was really, really cool. And we had about 3 nights. We had 3 nights of a live audience to kind of get us in the mode there too.
Amazing.
It was great.
I wish
listen, it's great to be a T-bird. You know what I mean? I've never thought I'd get to say that I'm a T-bird, but it's nice to say. I still have the jacket, and if things don't work out, I'll sell it on eBay, and it'll be great.
I'm sure they'll work out. I quickly wanted to ask a follow-up question on that, David, about In the Heights. There's been press that there's going to be an In the Heights movie. Can you tell us anything about that, or any?
Well, it's been pushed. So I'm not involved in the project. However, if you guys haven't seen the trailer, that's a beautiful trailer. It is beautiful. And I think from what I saw in the trailer, I think Lynn and this team and John Chu, the director, really smart about not exactly doing the Broadway show. If you're going to do another project, if you're going to do a rendition of a project, expand on it, make it grow, make it something different. Let's not always do the carbon copy, right? And so I think that's what they're doing. I'm really loving that. And I think it's very well cast. Anthony Ramos as Usnavi, perfect. Lin-Manuel Spiragua guy, perfect. So I think it's going to be a smash hit. I think it's going to be a smash hit.
Absolutely. Thank you, David. Thanks.
Thank you. Well, that's all the time that we have for today. I have more questions now. And I loved you from Grease Live, so I'm so glad that someone brought that up too. And
we have to get into predictions, though. We forgot last week.
Oh, that's right. Okay, well, let's quickly do predictions.
I feel like I should stop the video. I
Maybe,
stop my video so you don't see my face.
That's true, because he's going to give it away.
Faces. Don't make faces.
I'll try not to.
Okay, well, before we let you go, David, where can they find you on social media?
You can find me at Instagram, at David Del Rio.
Okay, go ahead and follow him. Check out his twerking dance stuff that he has off screen. And we just love your character, Mateo. And we're so excited for the projects that you have coming up. It's so cool that you're writing. And we cannot wait to see some of these future projects unfold. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for coming on.
Stay safe, too.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, you too. Stay safe.
Bye,
and stay
David.
sane.
Bye, sweetheart.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Do I leave now? I'm going to leave now.
Oh, yeah.
Bye.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, he is so fun. Oh, he's
awesome. He's really awesome.
He's so great. Okay,
guys,
yes.
He would come into our meetings and we would be on the floor laughing. He would ruin all our meetings. It was great.
I love how you brought that backstory between you two. So that's awesome. Thanks, Amir. Okay, well, quickly before we go, let's go ahead and get into predictions. Zach, what do you think is going to happen for next episode?
I think Lewis and Trevor, that storyline is going to progress. I'm really hoping they get together. I think Noah is going to have some type of conversation with the parents again, because I think they might be a little bit upset with her for I don't want to say calling out, but like calling out Natalie and Amy. And I mean, I think Daniel and Noah are gonna keep getting it in.
Oh, there you go. What about you, Haley?
Okay, I think Daniel is kind of gonna talk a big game about being able to handle all of like the pressure, but he's going to get annoyed, and it's gonna create a really big conflict. I think Natalie and Amy, the mom is not going to let them be in that room alone with each other ever again. And I hope we get to see them go on like little dates next episode. I think that'd be so cute.
Yeah.
I live for them.
Yeah, they are cute. And what about you, Amir?
I kind of second what Haley said. I do love Natalie and Amy. I think they're so cute. I think what's going to happen is because Mari's not so super supportive, they're just going to go to Amy's house. And I think her parents are going to take Natalie in and super like support her and be like, you're beautiful. You don't need to like, and maybe there's going to be some distancing from the family because I think everything right now is a little too perfect. I also hate to say this, but I think something bad's going to happen in between Mari and her husband. There's going to be something, I'm not saying infidelity, sickness, something's got to happen. They're just a little too perfect. And ABC likes to create some drama. So I think something's going to happen.
Okay, very good predictions.
Good.
And then quickly, I'm hoping that Natalie and her mom do get a chance to kind of get a little bit closer. And I really want that conversation that Natalie had with her dad, with her mom. So hopefully we'll see that. And then we want to find out more what's happening with Lewis too. And I would love the Lewis and Trevor storyline to escalate. But those are predictions. Before we leave, Zach, where can they find you on social media?
Follow me on Instagram at Zach Weinberg and Twitter at It's Zachary Bish.
And Haley?
You can follow me everywhere at Haley Matthews __.
And Amir?
Yes, you can find me at Amir Yas _ on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And thanks again, David, for being on the show. We love you.
Yes, thank you, David.
Yes.
Thank you,
Oh
David.
my gosh, it was amazing.
Yes. And then you can find me on Instagram at Chelsea Overrocker and on Twitter at Chelsea Overrocker. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.